Hello and welcome to a video that is for post-production mixing, specifically how to get a bus limiter and a loudness meter to work together to hit a target level. And in American television, it's typically minus 24 LKFS, which is your target. So this mix is in Hybrid Mix Lab here at NESCOM, and you're going to be mixing the full song. And I'm going to keep this video as short as possible and not do all the steps of the mix and really just kind of focus on this loudness issue. So this mix is all set up and ready to go. You've got a bunch of audio tracks feeding folder tracks and folder tracks feeding a mix bus. And we need to put a limiter across the mix bus here. And the limiter I recommend you do if this is your first time out is probably the Waves L2. It's kind of ubiquitous, the industry standard, been around a long time. I'm going to do a couple quick parameter changes. I'm going to set its output level to not exceed -1. And I will bring the threshold down a few dB to give a little bit of gain and just kind of be there and ready for us when the mix starts to come together. The next thing is, of course, this mix bus feeds the print track. Make sure to put your print track in input, solo safe it, and all that. And your absolute last insert on the print track, put a meter. And the meter we use here a lot, it's free, you can use at home, is the Ulean loudness meter. It's great, it's a wonderful loudness meter. And our target here, and I'm just going to press play and turn the speakers down so it's nice and quiet because the mix is kind of not mixed yet. Right now the mix is very loud, and you can see it has an integrated level of about -8 dB LUFS. And our target for this assignment is to hit -24. So obviously things need to be turned down quite a lot to get to that place. But we've got the meter set and we know what we need to do. Next thing, let's turn off and close the music folder, the sound effects folder, and just focus on the dialogue. This is the 30-second spot. The VO does most of the dialogue. This particular assignment, if you're working on this assignment at NESCOM, you may need to EQ using clip EQ all of this dialogue before you get into the mixing process because your teacher, me, has sabotaged it. And this is just a demonstration that this VO has already been EQ'd. So please use clip EQ whenever necessary to kind of do quick automated EQs between chunks, between clips. Not having to do it on a plugin certainly is faster. The next thing, once you kind of got clip EQ going and you've made sure all the vocals within a track, all the dialogue elements sound similar, is clip gain. And pressing play here, I'm going to turn up the level just a little bit. And for some reason, I am not hearing it. Not really sure. Well, I'm on the wrong source here. So you're going to want to make your dialogue all similar level. And so if you have a clip like that, that's just a little bit louder, bring it down by a dB. And that one was very quiet there. So I'm kind of just doing quick balances. This is much faster than using fader rides or other forms of automation. Clip gain is definitely the way to go. And so you would work through these clips using either clip EQ or clip gain and get them balanced. That's all I'm going to do for now to keep this video nice and short. Next thing is, you kind of, once you've got them nice and balanced, you're probably going to want to put some limiters on all the dynamic elements. I'm going to do Option Shift. I've selected all the dialogue elements here. I'm doing Option Shift, which is due to selective. And I'm going to use another Waves plugin that's been around since the beginning of Pro Tools called L1. It's been around a long time. And do a quick listen before you start putting compressors on dialogue and on vocals, because if it's not needed, don't use it. In this particular mix, the VO is already very limited. In fact, it's so limited, all the S's have come up in level, and the VO does not need a limiter. It actually needs a de-esser. And to keep this video nice and short, I'm not going to demonstrate the de-essing. I have another video that you can look at for that. And we're going to, yep, I do. I'm just double checking, make sure I had a video for de-essing, and I do. But these other guys, these other actors here, they're talking, the actual fighters, their dynamics are a lot more extreme. They are going to need some limiting. For example, this clip here called Sam. Sam is kind of could use some limiting, so I'm going to grab the link here, which brings down the output level and brings down the threshold at the same time. I'm going to try to get this person to be a little bit more limited, a little more spectrally dense. And you'll want to do this with the other actors as well, or other fighters in this case. This is Uz.
He's physically really strong, and he's got.
So we're gonna bring the
He's physically really strong, and he's got power. He's physically really strong.
So once you get all three of these actors limited a little bit, kind of leave in the VO de-essed, we'll kind of come back through, and this is the first time we're gonna look and see what the bus limiter and the U-lean loudness meter are actually doing. So I'm going to just, I know I haven't fully mixed this, but I'm showing the workflow. I'm going to return, start at the beginning, and look and see where is the level integrated sitting now. We haven't really hit the limiter yet, but we're seeing about minus 21 as an average level. Let's bring the threshold. I'm going to bring the threshold and the output level down together here. And I'm going to just have the dialogue barely hit the master bus limiter.
His last fight took only 8 seconds.
And levels now the output level is still sitting around minus 21. So we are what, about 3 dB too loud? If our target, the dialogue should be sitting at minus 24. So we need to turn the dialogue down. Now we've already hit the limiter, so I'm not. And the dialogue master comes before the limiter. I've already adjusted the limiter. So I don't want to bring the dialogue fader down. I don't want to bring the individual actors down. What I can do is either bring the mix bus fader down, or I can bring the output level of the limiter down. Let's just bring the mix bus down 3 dB. So if I bring that down by 3 dB, I was holding command down there. You can see it's, whoop, that just jumped all over the place. So here we go. That's about minus 3-ish. Now I'm going to rewind and press play, and you can see the dialogue is going to hover. Did I go too far? Or? It's kind of averaging around minus 24. And this gets me in the ballpark. And as the mix builds and I start adding sound effects and music and all that, I'm going to have to continue tweaking this limiter and output level to get there. But right now, the dialogue is sitting at minus 24. And since the dialogue is going to be the anchor of this entire post-production mix, as it usually is in TV and film, we can then, and I'm going to skip this part here for the sake of making this video shorter, but we would start going through the sound effects. I usually start with the ambience and set room tone and that sort of stuff underneath the dialogue. So here in the case of these sound effects, here I just opened up the sound effects master. If I were to mix this, I would go, oh my gosh, the dialogue is overpowered. The sound effects is overpowering the dialogue. So I would bring the sound effects down considerably to sit underneath the dialogue. Then I would start using clip gain and clip EQ to work through all of these elements to adjust them up and down. Maybe I'll add a little reverb to them. I think that's actually required for the mix. But again, have all these sound effects sit underneath the dialogue. And next thing would be, after that would be the music. Open up the music tracks. And I'm just going to guess they're going to be probably too loud as well. And they're very loud. So we bring the master of the music down and put it underneath the dialogue. And perhaps we'll need to use good old-fashioned fader riding EQ, which I have a fader riding level changes, which we might need to automate to swell the music in and out and essentially duck it around the dialogue. But the dialogue becomes the anchor. And in the end, before you print this mix, you're going to continue monitoring this U-lean here and see where the mix sits. Now, I know this was a very quick rough mix I just did, but where is my mix sitting? So, pretty close to minus 24. In fact, I'm about, when this 30-second clip. Well, that was kind of amazing for a rough mix. I am a 1/10 of a dB off from what I wanted. I'm actually a 1/10 of a dB too loud. If I wanted to get it perfectly and turn it down by a 1/10 of a dB, I would grab this mix bus, hold command down, and I could turn it down. Whoop. I went 1/10. Whoop. Too hard to get that. Whoop. There we go. 1/10 of a dB down. And if I played this again, it would be right on the money. Of course, you being a first-time mixer, you'll probably be a couple dB off. So just look at that number there, integrated -20. If you're at -27, bring it up by 3 dB. If you're at -22, bring it down by 2 dB. And your final submission should be right on the money and exact, because that's what the expectation is. We're all about anchoring this dialogue right at the target level. I hope this video helps out. Hope it wasn't too long-winded. Have a great day. Good luck with your projects.